Two paramedics are being hailed as heroes after the ambulance they were transporting a patient in was struck by another vehicle in Mount Hope.
Now, luckily, they only suffered minor injuries, but police say the paramedics quickly began treating the driver that hit them nearly head on. Nicole Martin is live tonight in studio with more. Nicole, this is a wild story.
Well, good evening, Taz and Phil. It certainly is. It's a collision that police say could have been a whole lot worse, and they tell us the driver of a black SUV could be facing charges for failing to yield for the ambulance that was moving with lights and sirens and had a man in the back with serious injuries from another collision site.
Ambulance was smashed, its bumper left hanging. The front of the black SUV that police say collided into them left in pieces, scattered on the intersection of Airport Road in Upper James.
Buddy did not pull over as you're supposed to pull over, let the ambulance go through. He didn't do that. He kept coming through, and actually they collided at the intersection.
But the day didn't begin there for the paramedics. They were called to Airport Road shortly before 10:30 this morning by the Hamilton Airport, just a few kilometers away, after police say a 44-year-old man was struck by a city commercial vehicle.
A man had entered the roadway and was subsequently struck by a vehicle traveling eastbound on Airport Road.
The driver stayed at the scene and rendered aid to the man, said to be in crisis, until the ambulance arrived. They then traveled along Airport Road until they reached that intersection of Upper James.
Came to a complete stop. Emergency lights were activated and sirens, proceeded through the intersection, and were struck by a black four-door Nissan Rogue.
Police adding that the man in his 50s driving the SUV was traveling southbound on Upper James Street when it hit the front of the ambulance on the driver's side. After the ambulance was struck, police say the paramedics actually got out and began treating the man who struck them head on.
It's a dedication to their job, very dedicated there.
These first responders are heroes. They were treating at the scene even though they were injured themselves.
Luckily, the paramedics, a man and woman, were not seriously hurt. The driver of the Rogue was taken to hospital with minor injuries, and now the investigation continues into potential charges.
Failing to yield for an emergency vehicle is something that would come to the forefront of my mind. However, gathering witness statements and evidence to support the other charges, something as much as careless driving and so on, there would be lots of things that would fall under this purview.
The 44-year-old man who was the patient in the back of the ambulance is in hospital in serious condition but is expected to survive. Paramedics say he suffered no further injuries in the secondary crash.
Hamilton Paramedic Services issued CHCH News a statement saying they continue to support the injured paramedics who were assessed in hospital today. Hamilton EMS would like to thank all who have offered support after this crash. Upper James has since reopened to traffic.